Hey guys, how are you today? This is the review for the first season of Black Butler, aka Kurosutsuji, and I tried to dress up a little bit for the occasion. I apologize for this mark on my face. It's a scab from that I completely obliterated and stuff. I apologize for that. But yeah, I thought that this hat reminded me a lot of CL, so I was like, yay! And of course my hair is black with green and blue throughout it. Okay, so I'm going to start off by explaining the basic story of Black Butler, which is set in Victorian England, and that's one of my favorite time periods. The fashion and the lifestyle is just beautiful. So, it basically is the story of CL Phantomhive, a 12-year-old boy whose family was killed in their house in a fire. CL basically swears revenge, and at the sake of his own soul going to hell, he wants to find out who destroyed his family, get revenge, and make them pay. Basically, drag them down to hell with him. To do this, he sells his soul to a demon. When you sell your soul to a demon, you are given a mark. It's on CL's eye. He wears an eye patch over it. The more visible the mark, the stronger the bond, and the quicker that the orders that are given to the demon have to be carried out. You are also allowed to name your demon, and he names his demon Sebastian Michaelis. And Sebastian will get to devour Ciel's soul at the end of the contract, and the contract, of course, is to find the killers of his family and exact revenge on them. So Sebastian takes the form of a butler and does all these house duties. Like it's pretty comical to see somebody who you know is an all-powerful demon doing the housework, cooking, just all this stuff. But you find out right away that he's pretty much awesome at it. So Sebastian hires some servants as well, and you find out quickly that they are not competent at all. The maid often drops and breaks things, trips and stuff. Her name's Mayrin. She's actually really, really cute. The gardener, Finney, is super strong, but he ends up breaking stuff and kind of derping a lot. It's really adorable too. And then there's this cook who often burns down the kitchen. So, and I believe his name is Bard. I'm sorry, I don't know his name precisely. Anyways, there's also a butler who was formerly with the Phantom Hives, and now he's serving CL. And he's a lot of the times comic relief, but every now and then he'll spring into action with this really good advice and stuff, and it's really cool. His name's Tanaka. So you find out later in the series that the reason that these servants were hired is because they don't have any experience for doing anything around the house. They are actually really good fighters. Mayrin was a sharpshooter, like she would, be an assassin for hire. And Bard predicted when there was a trap set up against the army that he was in. He is really good. Like he can really figure out when there's a problem. And then Finney was an experiment, and they would like lock him in a tower, and that's how he ended up getting super strong because they were experimenting on him. So that's why he wants to be outside all the time, because he was locked in a tower. Poor kid. So basically, how the story progresses is CL's family was basically the Queen's guard dogs, so they would help out cases that were difficult for the typical police to figure out, and the things that would bother the Queen. So as the story progresses, he's helping solve all these crimes and stuff, and he's learning more about the people that did this to his family, and you see him just become more determined to put them to justice. Like there's times where his motives and stuff are questioned, and he just proves even more that even no matter what happens to him, he's gonna get revenge. So, excuse me. All in all, This is one of the anime that I give a 10 out of 10. I know I have been saying that, but like literally, like even if it wasn't dear to my heart, um, the story is amazing. The art is beautiful. The characters are very well developed. It's great. Like it's only one season, so you don't have a lot of time to develop the characters. But what they do with the characters in the development is really good. You get to see CL go through a lot of things, and it develops his character. You get to see the backstories of the servants, and that helps to develop them. You get to see um, a lot of things that happened in his family. The only person who doesn't get a whole lot of development is his fiance, Lizzie. She's always happy-go-lucky. She's very one-dimensional, but you can tell that she really cares about him, and you see a few flashbacks with them. His aunt by far has so much development, and she is not in the series for very long, but she's got an amazing story. And of course, there's Grell, who I love to death. He is so sassy and so funny, and while you don't really see him develop a whole lot, you do get to learn a lot about him, and it's really fun when he comes along. All in all, the characters I would give for development a 7 out of 10 because, you really could go into more detail, but they are very unique and very lively and very developed for what the time that they had. Story, 10 out of 10. It's a basic story, but they really show you the Victorian culture. They really keep you thinking about things. They really add a lot to a basic story about a demon and a child and stuff. So, art, of course, in my opinion, is 10 out of 10. It's beautiful. It's well developed. I don't see a lot of errors. Like, being an art student, I can catch a lot of things in anime that I'm like, whoa, what is this? But, like, Black Butler is beautiful. My two biggest complaints are, number one, I love the Japanese voice cast. It's perfect. Um, when I first heard the English, I couldn't even finish an entire episode. I had to turn it off. CL's voice, spot on, but Sebastian's was much higher than what I was expecting, and it seemed kind of fruity at first, but eventually I was like, I want to watch this, so I just dealt with it, and it did kind of grow on me, but I was really expecting a much deeper voice for Sebastian, so that was one complaint. And basically, the other complaint, of course, as I've said, is while the characters are well developed, it'd be great to develop them further, but they did what they could in the time that they had. All in all, I would try to explain more of what's going on by explaining the second season, but I'm not the whole way through the second season, and like I said, they are almost like two separate series to me, so that's why I'm reviewing them separately. So, second season, different time. But taking just the first season into consideration, it's a great series, and I personally love it. Trying to think of what else I can tell you guys. There are several characters I haven't gone over. The main villain, which this is like a very interesting dynamic actually. Um, Me as a Christian, when I think of angels, I think of purity, I think of serving God, I think of just doing all the right things and protecting man. And then you think of demons, you think of deceivers. They might be good looking, just to hide their facade, but typically demons are ugly and horrible, and they like to torture people. And you can see some of that demonic stuff going on with Sebastian, but he's a perfect gentleman. And then the angel in the story is like psychotic, mean, conniving, just goes behind the scenes, just doing whatever they can to cause this chaos. And if you're somebody like me who's like, religion is a certain way, and you see this dynamic, you're like mind blown. The demon is the hero, and the angel is the the bad guy. What? Like, it really, like, I had to stop and think for a little while. Like, I was like, wow, it's so interesting and so odd. And the fact that they use Grim Reapers as a part of it too is just really interesting, getting to know some of the Grim Reapers and how like they conduct their business like very professionally and stuff. That was very interesting to me. Trying to think what else. Oh, if you're a tea lover, you'll probably end up like craving tea all the time during this. Like he talks about all the different types of teas, and I like drank a huge amount of Earl Grey when I was watching the series, so be prepared for that. There's also Lau and his he runs an opium den, so that shows you, you know, the drugs that were happening at the time because opium was pretty popular back then. You know, it shows you a good bit of the underground world, and that even somebody who is as, you know, appears to be as perfect and upright as CL even has connections that far down. Lau is a very interesting character. I don't know that I completely understand him though, so I don't really want to go into him too much. But you kind of see some of his backstory, and it seems a little sad and also kind of very interesting. So I'm trying to tell you guys as much as I can without spoiling it because these reviews are meant to give you my thoughts on it, but also get you interested in actually watching the series because it's a really good series. Like if you love Victorian culture, you like an interesting story that has a lot of action but also a lot of intelligence, you'll like this series. If you're a person like me that like loves beautifully drawn art, you'll like it. It's just depending on how you are about subtitles and dubbing on which you want to choose. The translation isn't too different. There are some basic things that are a little off, but like the translation isn't too different, so you'll probably be able to understand the story and gather the same type of information by watching either one. I watched both, obviously, but all in all, 10 out of 10 for Kurosetsuji, and I highly recommend that if you love these things that I've discussed, that you give it a watch. And I appreciate you taking the time to watch me and my derpy little reviews as I learn how to do this properly. It's really great to have people watching it and interested in it. So I hope you all have a lovely day, and I will talk to you soon. Okay? Bye.